Alright, so guys, it's the one and only Christopher Bruce here again. For the last 15-20 minutes, I've been getting a lot of ideas, telepathic ideas from the beings, asking me to create this little brief summary type video explaining the basics of morality and how it applies to different topics and behaviors in life. So basically, this is what we're going to do. Okay. The word good basically boils down to that which is acceptable, because that which is acceptable is that which is desirable, and what is desirable is good. All right? So basically, everything in reality that is acceptable is good. All right? Now, when it comes to behavior, good behavior is basically like our bodies during life, we experience different emotions and sensations that we categorize as either positive or negative, right? Like we have peace and relaxation and pleasure and happiness and stuff like that, which we normally consider good. There's some sort of forms of like anger and disgust that are righteous and good, but mainly for the most part, what we want is things that are desirable, like peace, pleasure, and happiness. All right. Now, in order for those things to be good, they have to be non-offensive. In order, to be acceptable, they have to be non-offensive, which means sexual perversion and stuff like that, which provides pleasure and happiness, is immoral, it's foul, it's perverted, it's disgusting, it's offensive, so it's not acceptable, so it's not good. Yeah. So there's just, yeah, basically that's basically the basics of good behavior, is that you have to have, for something to, for your behavior to be good, it has to be non-offensive. All right, acceptable. Same thing is, but basically what you want for good behavior or morality is to anything that doesn't diminish the quality of life of good beings or acceptable beings is actually considered good. That which destroys the life of evil beings is also good. So basically what you want is to not diminish the quality of life of good beings or improve the quality of life of bad beings. All right? Now, that's as simple as I can remember it. But basically, there's different topics in reality that it wanted me to talk to. Okay. Now, in religion and stuff like that, for the first one, we'll try to cover briefly, is you look at religions like Christianity and the Abrahamic gods and stuff like that, and they, for the most part, they try to teach people to turn the other cheek, accept bad actors in your life, accept scumbags in your life, accept immorality and filth in your life. Don't fight it, don't resist it, just let it exist, and turn the other cheek type thing, like the Jesus stuff, turn the other cheek, blah 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 blah. All right, or like Jesus, like in Jesus and Abrahamic stuff, it would be like telling you that there's nothing wrong with using and abusing good beings and creations in your quest for pleasure and happiness and servitude of other beings. All right, now basically, the way I was taught it, the way the beings taught me, is that good beings do not want other good beings to be their servants and being subjugated and in servitude to them. They just want to live peacefully and happy and coexist. All right, so when you have a religious figure or a god or something claiming to be a god that wants to subjugate everyone and everything in reality and have everyone bend a knee to it and then exploit all the resources of the world, whether it's life forms or minerals or whatever, exploiting everything for personal gain and pleasure and happiness, that's pretty much a very bad being. Because you can't destroy good creations and good beings to fuel your life of your self-serving, inconsiderate life of offensive pleasure and happiness. All right, and like I said, I like the Jesus stuff, telling you to turn the other cheek when bad people wrong you. That's basically what that's someone telling you, like, okay, you can harm good beings. That's what they're saying. You can harm good beings like farm animals and subjugate other animals like horses or whatever. You basically they're telling you, yeah, you can harm those good beings, but if anyone tries to harm you or whatever, just turn the other cheek. Let them get away with it. And so it's basically like it's telling you to do evil and accept evil in your life. When you do evil and accept evil in your life, it means you're rejecting good. Yeah. So it's like the religions of this world are extremely offensive because they're convincing you to do evil and reject and do evil and embrace evil, accept evil and reject good. Yeah. So they're extremely offensive. So when you have all these religious people in the world acting like complete idiots, either knowingly or unknowingly peddling these demented evil religions, these devil worshipping religions, it's extremely offensive. It's extremely offensive. So it's not acceptable, which means it's bad, it's evil. So when you look at all these religious figures, especially the Abrahamic ones, the Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians, when you look at their religions and what they're doing, it's exceedingly offensive because it's encouraging people to accept filth and sin and evil in their lives and to do evil and reject good, which is just causing an unimaginable amount of damage to the species and the future generations and just ruining everyone and everything. It's extremely offensive. And like I said, if something's offensive, that means that it's not acceptable. If it's not acceptable, then it's not good. If it's not good, then it's bad and it's evil. So that's the basics of a religion. Just one little idea of religion. There's other things, but we won't cover it. We'll just give you a little recap of things. Another thing that's apparently they want me to touch on briefly was something to do with, it explained to me in the past, I'll see if I can remember it. It had to do with sexual perversion and like the LGBT community and stuff like that. All right. And basically what it was it explained it as like the LGBT community are a people that they're blatant sexual predators, according to what I was taught. They search for people to use for pleasure. When they look for a partner in life, they're looking for a specific sex and somebody they're sexually attracted to. They're looking for a specific sex to engage in a relationship with. Like whether like homosexuals or trannies or whatever, they're looking for a specific type of sex that they're attracted to, sexually attracted to use for pleasure. So when they engage in relationships with people for partners, they're searching for someone to use for sexual for sexual pleasure, which means they're hunting for someone to sexually molest. That's what molestation means, is improper sexuality, or I can't remember what it was. I think it was like the word molest meant some sexual indecency, which basically means sexual immorality, which means offensive sexuality. So they're hunting for somebody. They're hunting for people to molest, to sexually molest. And that's what a sexual predator is, And so that also applies to a lot of other people in this world as well, like people who go out and they pursue pleasure. They look for partners in life to experience sexuality with. It's not somebody to just enjoy life with, have fun with, go on trips with, vacation with, and just sexuality and family on the back burner for many, many, many years until maybe you really, really, really get to know each other and really, truly, truly like each other to an extreme degree. And then it's like, okay, well, forget the recreational sexuality. I'll have children and have family like that. So it's basically like saying, like, fucking the majority of people on this world, according to what I was taught, especially the LGBT community, are people that hunt for other people they're sexually attracted to use for pleasure, for pleasure and happiness. So they're using people for that. That's indecency. To use somebody for pleasure and stuff like that is indecency. It's immorality. It's unacceptable. So it's basically like saying, like, I can't remember what the hell I was gonna say. It just wiped my mind again. Yeah, basically, it's basically something like, your sexual indecency is hunting for people to use for pleasure or resources or whatever, and just it's all sexual indecency, which means to molest, which means inappropriate handling something. Is another definition of molest according to what I was taught, and so there's another thing there. Another thing that's offensive is the governments, supporting the governments of this world, or the majority of the governments, if not all of them. I think it's all of them based on what I was taught, but supporting the governments of this world, because the governments of this world, they teach you to accept and encourage filth like religion and sexual deviancy and stuff like that, and just tell you to basically they're encouraging the future generations and the children to do and accept immorality and perversion and filth and stupidity and sin, So they're ruining the future generation. They're corrupting and perverting the minds of billions of people. They're telling you to do and accept evil just like religion, which means they're telling you to reject good. They want you to reject good and be living in sin and as an offensive person. You know? So it's like they're just as bad as the religious figures that claim to be gods and stuff like that. You know? So basically, to support those governments and elect people that like on this world, based on what I've seen in 48 years, every single politician that I've ever seen in my entire life, in my 48 years of life on this planet, has always been somebody who feeds you a bullshit line to get your vote. You vote them into office, and then they do whatever they want, spit in everyone's fucking faces, and try to subjugate, dominate, boss around, and rule over people, and basically try to dominate people, treat them like garbage, and try to dominate them. And then which is to try to impose their will on people and mentally and spiritually dominate them to try and feel like they're superior in some way. It's really sickening shit. So to support these governments who are habitual liars and deceivers and molesters and shit like that is extremely bad idea. You know, it means you're serving evil. You're helping, and when you vote for immoral politicians and stuff like that, and liars and deceivers and scumbags, and support crooked governments, you know, even by paying taxes, it says. I mean, I understand like you have to pay your taxes apparently if you don't want to be put in prison and shit like that. You know, like as sad as it is, you have to do some minor evils so long as you're serving a greater good. Like if you're creating Psywar ammunition and stuff like that to pulverize all evil in existence, even if it's subtle cryptic stuff that the government doesn't really understand and stuff like that, you can create subtle Psywar ammunition to pulverize all the filth of reality and try to spread the truth about how scummy they are and how vile they are and how serving them is wrong and stuff like that. If you're serving a greater good like that, then you can do minor evils so long as you are serving that greater good for existence, you know, for all good in existence. You know? But anyway, what I was going to say is like serving the governments and stuff like that, paying your taxes and stuff like that. If you're going to accept this way of life as the way they present it to you and accept their abuse, knowingly and willingly accept their abuse without serving a greater good, and just participate in the filth and perversion and the sin of everything, then you're going down the drain. Yeah, you're helping fuel. You're responsible when you support a government that encourages children and people to accept and do evil and reject good. It means you're responsible in a way for pretty much all the things that government's doing and all the corruption that's happening to the children and everything. So when you vote for corrupt politicians and stuff like that and support them and don't constantly oppose them, it means that you're in a way responsible for all the damages they're causing to the children and the people of this world, you know, and the future generations and innocent good beings and stuff like that. So there's another one. So we have like religion's bad idea, supporting corrupt governments is a bad idea, sexual predator type stuff. Another one was alcohol. That's what it was trying to tell me. It's like alcohol, for example, is a really stupid idea. When you're being a genuine good person or trying your hardest to, you won't have any interest in crutches like alcohol, drugs, tobacco, and stuff like that. You literally have no interest in it whatsoever. Nor with sexual perversion, unless you're being mind controlled by some scuzzbag feeding your mind with forced thoughts and emotions. Yeah, but for the most part, you'd have no desire for that stuff. And it's gross on this world to engage in things like alcohol and substance abuse, because what it's like is it's like being an immoral person that can't find pleasure and happiness in your life, just being a good person. So you serve evil governments and evil people to get resources. Then you give those resources back to them in exchange for substance abuse things like drugs and alcohol and sex and stuff like that. Use that money to acquire filth, perversion, and substance abuse type garbage. You know, so you're basically paying other people to give you an artificial or an offensive pleasure and happiness. You know, it is. It's an indecency when you can't find pleasure and happiness in natural, non-offensive ways, with just trying to be a genuine, good-spirited person and enjoying life and being like, I don't want sex, drugs, or alcohol or any of that other filth. I just want my basic fruits, vegetables, water, and fruit drinks and stuff like that, and just have a fun, happy life, you know? So when you're engaging in things like alcohol, it's like you're needing a crutch or something to experience your pleasure or happiness, some sort of like stimulant to try and help you enjoy life, which is exceedingly offensive. It's disgusting. It's like a perversion of nature. Yeah. So when you're engaging in those things, it's like you're basically being an extremely offensive person, and that means it's bad. It's not good. It's unacceptable. So alcohol and stuff like that is basically like in evil, a form of evil, a form of not good, of unacceptable filth and stupidity, and stuff like that. I can't remember any of the other topics they wanted me to cover in this little brief video, but it's just those basic ideas of a few things that it taught me in the past about morality and how it applies to things. And like I said, all you gotta really remember is that to be a good spirited person, you have to constantly serve. You have to make your life a force for goodness, which means you want to oppose all forms of evil if you can. At least the stuff you can without being harmed and destroyed and stuff like that. So you want to oppose all forms of immorality and filth and garbage and stuff like that as much as you possibly can, even though you'll be attacked by evil beings and stuff like that the entire time. You know, and basically what you want to do is try not to diminish the quality of life of any good beings or creations, while serving that greater good of improving the quality of life of good beings and creations, and destroying all evil, ruining their lives. There's nothing wrong with ruining the lives of people who have no interest in being good. If people have no interest in being good, you have a right to fucking ruin their life because they're offensive filth. And if you accept those offensive people, it means you're rejecting good. So you sort of have a moral duty to ruin the lives of people who are ruining your life. Yeah? But anyway, yeah, that's the basics of things as I was taught. So, yeah, there you go. We'll talk about it later.